وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما von allen starting the live.
ننصح
بسم الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. رب اشرح لنا صدورنا ويسر لنا أمورنا واحلل عقدة من ألسنتنا يفقهوا قولنا. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك واحفظنا زينقتين في بيان مرادك. Yusuf, we busy discussing the أحكام الشريعة. We finished with the Dalai of Sharia. Now we do Ahkam Sharia, which consists of four things. The discussion is about the illat, the sabab, shart, and let's just forget the fourth thing now. Right. Illat, sabab, shart, and the hukam. So we mentioned before that the illah is the thing that causes the hukam to come about, and the sabab is the means that takes you towards it, but it doesn't have any effect in the hukam itself. So whenever you have the illah and the sabab together, they give examples, like how a person, he suspends the rope of a bucket into a well to get the water. So the rope is the sabab, and the illah is the bucket, and the hukam is the drawing of the water. So the drawing of the water is affected by the bucket, but you need the string for you to get to the water. So we mentioned that wherever possible, you always attribute the illah to the hukam. That is the cause outwardly, obviously at the end of the day, the real mu'athir is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The real musabib is Allah ta'ala, right? Outwardly, from a Zahiri point of view, and from a fiqh point of view, this is just a way for us in order to understand how the hukam works, for us to extract the hukam from its sources, from the adillah to sharia. So wherever possible, we'll attribute the hukam to the illah. However, if it is difficult for us to attribute the hukam to the illah, and we'll give some reasoning in front as to why or when that might be, then we will attribute the hukam to the sabab. Right? So when we can't attribute the illah to the hukam, then we will attribute the sabab to the hukam. وعلى هذا, based upon this, قال أصحابنا, our ulama رحمة الله عليهم أجمعين, say, إذا دفع السكين إلى صبي فقتل به نفسه لا يضمن ولو سقط من يد السبي فجرحه يضمن. But if someone دفع أحد, if someone gives a knife to a small child and the small child ends up killing someone with a knife, and out of curiosity, not of any kind of malicious intent, no, they see qurbani, so they think they can also do the same thing with somebody else, not realizing that, it's not something to be played around with. So if someone in negligence gave a knife to a child, and the child, out of curiosity or whatever, ended up killing someone with a knife, so la yuthman, the person himself who gave him the knife, will not be held liable for the death of the person. Yeah, the qadi might charge him with negligence and so forth, but he won't be liable for the deceased, for the murder. وَلَوْ سَقَطَ, on the other hand, if the knife was to fall out of the hand of the child, فَجَرَحَهُ, and he ends up injuring someone or himself, يُضْمَنْ, then the person who gave him the knife will be held liable for that injury. So why the difference? Because in the first case, we can attribute Right, so first of all, the murder, the illa was what? The child stabbing the person or whatever. The sabab is what? How did the child get to do to that point? He got to that point because someone gave him a knife. So the sabab that led to the murder, understand the thing that led to the murder was the handing over of the knife. But the actual cause of the murder was the child using the knife against that person, even though he did not realize what he was doing, using the knife against that person. It's the actual cause of the murder. So in this case here, because the action can be attributed to the child or the awliya of the child, we will do so. And we will not attribute the liability of this action to the sabab, which is the person that gave him the knife to begin with. On the other hand, if the child causes a knife to slip or the knife slips from the child's hand and injures himself or someone, in this case here, what is the actual illa of the injury? The knife falling. So the knife itself is an inanimate object. It doesn't have any ikhtiyar as to where it's going to land, what it's going to do. And so the child himself didn't actually cause the injury, but the falling of the knife did. That's the illa. But in this case here, we can't attribute the hukm to the knife itself. Because the knife can't be charged with anything. It's an inanimate object. It's got no ikhtiyar. It's got no volition. It's got no ability to choose. So therefore, we attribute the hukam to the sabab, which is the person that gave the child the knife. Had he not given the child the knife, he would not have slipped out of his hand. He would not have injured someone. You follow?
Juma.
ولو حمل الصبي أو ولو حمل الصبي على دابة فسيرها فحالت يمنة ويسرة could actually be جالت وجالت بيمنة ويسرة فسقط ومات لا يضمن. If a person was to place a child upon an animal, cow, donkey, or whatever, فسيرها, and he sets the animal in motion. He sets the animal in motion. The animal by itself starts to stampede or starts to buck right and left. Understand? فسقط, as it is, and he throws the child off its back, and the child dies as a result. لا يضمن, the person who put him on the animal again will not be held liable. Why? Because what is the actual cause of the child dying? The animal bucking or running and going. That is what caused the death of the child. What is the sabab? The sabab was the person putting the child on. So here again, in this case here, we can attribute the what you call the hukam to the illah, which is the animal. So therefore, we will not attribute it to the sabab, which is the person who placed on the animal. Sorry, for sayyara is the child, not the person. The child set the animal in motion. Sorry. Right? So the child set that makes no sense. The child set the animal in motion. So because it was the child who was riding the horse, which led to its death eventually because of the animal bucking. So therefore, we'll attribute the illa is, we attribute it to the child not cause the animal to move. It would have been okay. So we can attribute the death of the child to the child itself. That by him setting the animal in motion, riding the animal, it's what led to the animal throwing him off. And not the sabab, which is the person that put him on the animal. Third example, ولو دل إنسان على مال غير فسرقه أو على نفسه فقتله هو على نفسه أوكي أو على نفسه فقتله أو على قافلة فقطع عليهم الطريق لا يجب الضمان على التام. If someone was to point out or
Ah.
indicate to somebody else, a third party, upon the wealth of someone, and this the madlul, the person that he told about the wealth, that I work for this guy, I install security alarms, for example. He's got a huge safe in such and such a room, and this is where what I saw in the safe and this and that. So this person, he decided to go steal the money. So he ended up stealing the money. Or he indicated towards the person that I know where somebody is. And he told him the whereabouts of the person. And this person, he had some kind of vendetta or whatever against him. He went looking for him and killed him. Or third possibility, third scenario, he indicated to him upon a qafila, a caravan. Like in our times, what do you call this, money trucks or whatever, understand? Or party traveling in a vehicle with a lot of money. فقطع عليهم الطريق, and he robs them. قطع عليهم الطريق is an expression in Arabic it means to highway robbery. And he hijacks them and robs them. لا يجب الضمان. So the person who told him about all these things, he will not be liable for the theft or the murder. Why? Because him telling the person is a sabab. But the actual thief or the actual theft was carried out by the thief or the murderer or the highway robber. He didn't have to go and steal the money. It was his own choice, his own greed that motivated him to go and steal, or his anger that motivated him to go and kill that person, whatever the case was. He had a choice in the matter. He didn't have to go and do any of these things. Perhaps the person didn't even tell him those things, thinking that he would go and steal or murder. So although he was a sabab, had he not told him the whereabouts of the money or whatever, he wouldn't have gone to steal. But the actual theft was done by him by choice, volitionally, intentionally by him. So therefore, he is liable for his own actions. He can't blame the person or indicate it towards the whereabouts of the person or the wealth. Understood?
Okay.
وهذا بخلاف المودع إذا دل السارق على الوديعة. المودع, what is مودع? From the word وديعة. وديعة is where you leave something in trust by someone. So the muda is the one who has been entrusted with it. So for example, you've got a X amount in cash or jewelry. Maybe you're traveling overseas or you're going somewhere. You decide to leave it by this person in safekeeping. They keep this by you in safekeeping till I come back, till I return. And this person meant to tell somebody about it. Hey, you know what, so and so person left A, B, and C item by me in safekeeping. And then that person, the third party, ended up stealing that item. فسرقها. أو دل المحرم غيره على الصيد الحرام فقتله. Or a person in the state of ihram, he indicated towards someone who's not in the state of ihram upon a game animal within the haram, within the sanctuary, within the holy sanctuary, within the borders of the haram. فقتله, and this person went to go and hunt that animal, that game animal. So in these two instances, although the muda is the sabab, the actual illa is the thief. And although the muhrim is the sabab, the actual guilty person is the sa'id, the hunter. Understand? But in this case here, لأن وجوب, we will hold them liable. We'll hold the muda liable, and we'll hold the muhrim liable, despite them being the sabab. Why? لأن وجوب الضمان على المودع باعتبار ترك الحفظ الواجب عليه لا بالدلالة. So this is actually an answer to an objection. that if you are saying that the illa must be attributed to the hukam and not the sabab, then why in these two instances is your masala different? So the answer in short is what? In these two instances, we are not holding the muhrim and the muda liable because we can't attribute the hukam to the illa. We can attribute to the hukam to the illa, which is the thief and the what you call the sa'id, the hunter. But in this case here, we also hold the muda and the muhrim liable because they went against their position of trust. In the case of the muda, he was entrusted with those things. It was wrong of him to betray that trust by telling somebody else about that wealth. So because of that betrayal of the trust, he went against the amanat of the wadi'ah. That's why we hold him liable. And the muhrim, he went against the sanctity of ihram. It was against the ihram, against the sanctity of ihram, for him to indicate towards a game animal. So that's why there's a penalty instituted against the muhrim, not because of the theft of the money, and not because of the killing of the animal, but because they betrayed their position of trust. So we hold them. So we place a fine upon him, a penalty upon him. Okay. That person will still be liable for the actual theft and for the actual claim, but they will also be punished. They will also be penalized. So what they're saying here, لأن وجوب الضمان على المودع باعتبار تارك الحفظ الواجب عليه لا بالدلالة. Why? Because in this case here, the necessity of the liability upon the muda, the one entrusted with the wealth, is taken into consideration is abandoning his compulsory duty of protection over the wealth, not because he indicated towards where the wealth is. وعلى المحرم باعتبار أن الدالة محظور إحرامه. And similarly, the muhrim is held liable, taking in consideration that him indicating or telling somebody about the game animal was from amongst those things which are prohibited for him. محظور إحرام. This was a prohibited action of his ihram. And so that is why we held them liable. That's why we put a penalty on them. بمنزلة مس الطيب ولبس المخيط فيضمن بارتكاب المحظور. Just like if he was the muhrim, was to put on ether, or if he was to wear sewn clothing. This is against the ihram. You're not allowed to do that in the state of ihram. You have to pay a dumb penalty if you do that in ihram. So in the same way, فيضمن بارتكاب المحظور لا بالدلالة. Yeah, we are placing the penalty not because he indicated towards the game animal, but because he committed something which is impermissible for him to commit or to do in the state of ihram. Understood?
Yeah.
إلا أن الجناية إنما تتقرب في حقيقة القتل, except the other jinayah, the actual crime, is established by the actual murder. And actual crime is established by the actual murder. We're talking about the previous examples now. Talking about the previous examples, we indicated towards somebody and he ended up murdering someone. So this illa is connected to that, not to this last masla. فأما قبله فلا حكم له. Oh, sorry. This is also what regards to the muhrim. Except that the crime, meaning of the hunting the game animal, only becomes established by the actual hunting of the animal. Prior to the hunting of the animal, there's no hukm. فلا حكم له. There's no hukm, meaning that by him merely indicating to someone, he will not be will not have to give any kind of time or penalty, just by indicating. But we will see whether that person actually hunts the animal down or not. Only once he hunts the animal, then because his action now led to a crime, to an actual crime, therefore the penalty will be suspended until then. So if I, as a muhrim, indicate towards a game animal, but that person doesn't end up hunting the animal, he just leaves it, or he ignores my suggestion, and so then nothing. I don't have to give time. I don't have to pay any penalty. Why? Because no actual crime took place, or my action didn't lead to any crime. You follow?
Sure.
But if it led to the person hunting the animal, now because the crime is established, now we can attribute it back to my dalala or dilala. We can now attribute it to my pointing it out or telling you about it, and now I become liable. Okay? So it's not enforced immediately, but we will wait to see what happens. Does it lead to any crime or not? So that's what he's saying. فَلَا حُكْمَ لَهُ لِجَوَازِ ارْتِفَاعِ أَثَرِ الْجِنَايَةِ. There's no hukm as yet because of the possibility of the effect of the crime not taking place. Irtifai is not taking place in the negative. Because of the possibility of the effect of my jinayah, of my crime, not taking place, meaning that the person doesn't go to hunt the animal. بِمَنْزِلَةِ اندماغ في باب الجراحة. Like how if a person is cured or is healed in the mouth, become healed or cured in the masala or in the bhavya, meaning the masala, or in the laws of wounds. So if I was to wound somebody, as we did previously, I'm liable to pay for that wound, right? I injure someone's head or his arm, whatever. So part of the qisas in the Sharia is I have to pay for it. But prior to me, or prior to the case being decided upon in the court of law and the penalty being instituted, that person who was completely healed, like nothing happened. And then, in that case, I won't have to pay anything. In that case, I won't have to. Why? Because there's no remnant of my crime. There's no athar, no remnant. There's no trace of the crime left. So in that case, the Hanaf say that if the person becomes completely healed before the Qadi was able to place a penalty upon him, there's no jinayah, there's no penalty to pay, there's no qisas to pay. Okay, and so in the same way here, that if my pointing out to the person the game animal didn't actually lead to the animal being hunted, causes no trace of my crime. My crime didn't have any effect, real life effect. Didn't have any a real effect in real time. So therefore, I won't be guilty of anything as such. وقد يكون السبب بمعنى إلا. Another is right now. Remember we said before that when we cannot attribute the hukam to the illah, we will attribute it to the sabab. So the one instance where that happens is where sometimes, quite before yakun means sometimes. Qad is used sometimes used for the meaning of sometimes. Not tahqiq all the time, definitely. So qad sometimes the sabab is in the meaning of the illah. And so this is one instance where we'll attribute the hukm not to the illah, but to the sabab. Because in reality, the hukam is not coming into being because of the illah, but because of the sabab. You follow? The sabab is the thing that is actually bringing the hukam into being, not the illah. Okay? So you can almost say it is the illah of the illah. It is the cause of the actual cause. You understood?
Sure.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So therefore you will attribute the hukam to the sabab, not to the illah. Now how is that possible? Okay, let's take an example. ومثاله فيما يثبت الإلا بسبب. Get an example of where the illah is established because of the sabab. فيكون السبب في معنى الإلا, so therefore the sabab will have the meaning of the إلا or إلة العلة. لأنه لما ثبت العلة بالسبب, because the إلا is only established, only comes into being, only exists because of the sabab or via the sabab. فيكون السبب في معنى إلة الإلا, so therefore the sabab will be in the meaning of the إلا of the إلا, the cause of the effect. فيضاف الحكم إليه, so therefore the حكم will be attributed to it. Okay, first let's look at the example. So say for example, I'm driving an animal and that animal end up damaging someone's property, right? Can we attribute the action of damage to the animal?
Mm-mm.
You can't. Why? Because again, the animal is not doing anything on its own volition. It's merely doing what the driver is steering it to do. So although it's the actual illa, the animal itself, but because the animal is ghair akil in this case, it's got no choice of its own, not doing things out of its own will, free will, but rather on the indication of the sa'iq, the person driving the animal. So therefore, its actions in reality is being caused by who? By the sa'iq. So although in reality, the sa'iq is the sabab, and the animal is the illa of the damage. But because the animal wouldn't have damaged the crops if it wasn't for the sa'iq is bringing the animal's actions into existence. So the sabab is actually the illa of the illa. It's the cause of the effect. The sabab in this case caused the effect. So therefore we'll attribute the actions of the damage to the master, to the owner of the animal, not to the animal. How is the animal going to pay for the damages? The animal can't pay. The owner must pay. You follow?
Okay.
So the saka, but then if a person is steering, driving an animal, saka means to steer from the back, and qada means to drive from the front. Qada to drive from the front. So the person is steering, driving the animal from the rear. فأتلف شيء, the animal ends up damaging something. ضامن السائق, the person steering the animal will be ضامن, he will be held liable for the damage. Another example, والشاهد إلا أتلف بشهادته مالا فظهر بطلانها بالرجوع ضامن. We did this masla before. Now they're explaining the reason why this is so. That if a witness gives the witness to something and the qadi, he ruled in accordance to the witness of this person, and as a result of which the money, for example, let's say for example, person is claiming Abdullah owes him money. Person gave witness, two people gave witness, and the qadi ruled that yes, witnesses are here. I checked them out as far as possible. They're all upright, whatever the case was. This is the ruling, that you have to give him the money. And after that person who took the money, right, he went and spent it or whatever, he used the money. The money doesn't no longer exist. Then the witness came forward and said, you know what, I actually lied. One of the witnesses, or both. I actually lied. I didn't, I was not the witness to anything. I lied. So from there we come to know what? That the witness was not sound. And the judgment was the actual illa of that led to the loss of the money. It was the judgment that led to this person, Abdullah, losing that money. And the qadi not judged in his favor or against him, rather. He wouldn't have given him, he wouldn't have had to hand the money over. But that judgment was handed down because of the witnesses. He's got no choice. Two witnesses came forward. Outwardly, everything seemed good. He did his investigation. So he was compelled by Sharia to pass judgment in the favor of what the witness is saying. Follow.
Yes.
So his actions, which in the judgment, the illah, came into existence because of the witness. They were the sabab. But because in this case, the sabab led to the illah. it caused the effect of the illa, which is the judgment. Therefore, not the qadi, them, they will be held liable, the false witness will be held liable for replacing that money of Abdullah. Understood?
جملة.
لأن سير الدعوة يضاف إلى السوق, because the steering of the animal is attributed to the steering of the person. The movement of the animal is attributed to the steering of the animal. وقضاء القاضي يضاف إلى الشهادة, and the judgment of the judge is attributed to the witness that was given. لما أنه لا يسع ترك القضاء بعد ظهور الحق بشهادة العدل إنه, because it is not possible for him not to pass judgment after the truth has become clear by the witness of an upright person in his view. فصار كالمجبور. So in this case, the judge was like a person compelled by law, person under duress. في ذلك بمنزلة البهيمة بفعل السعي, in the same way that animal is under duress, is forced or is compelled by the action of the person driving. Understood?
Yeah.
Then tomorrow, inshallah, we'll do another instance where the sabab is also, the hukum is also attributed to the sabab. Another case where we will attribute, another exception, where we will attribute the hukum to the sabab and not to the illah. Any questions, anything you didn't understand?
Not at the moment. But tricky, but
Yeah, it's a bit tricky getting the difference between the sabab and illah and to do it. Inshallah, go over it. If there is any questions, you're welcome to pose it or send a message, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. سبحان الله بحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب